All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Blockbuster Breakdown. We have a lot of things to talk about on today's show. We have a new Child's Play trailer, the Trench spinoff, question mark, is it happening? BAFTA recap, all that good stuff, and more. Stick around, we will be right back. All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Blockbuster Breakdown, the show where we talk all things blockbuster movies and a little bit more. I am your host, Liam Crowley, joined alongside, as always, by my co-host, Mike Gillis. Mike, what is going on?
What's up, guys? Super excited to talk about the new Child's Play trailer that just dropped a couple days ago.
Absolutely. We know Mike. Mike is our resident horror guy on today's show, as he always is, and I'm very excited to talk about the Child's Play remake with him with a little bit of a modern twist, there. But we're going to start, as always, with our weekend box office recap. All right, coming in at number one is the Lego Movie 2, the second part, making $34.1 million in its opening weekend. Coming in at number two, also in its opening weekend, is What Men Want, making $18.2 million. Coming in at number three is Cold Pursuit, making $11 million, also in its opening weekend. Coming in at number four is The Upside, making $7 million, dropping 18% well into its release at this point. And rounding out the top five is Glass, making $6.2 million, dropping 34% well into its theatrical run as well. So, Mike, after me reading you the top five real quick, what stands out? Was there anything missing from the top five that caught your eye?
Not really. It makes sense that we have Lego Movie finally taking a spot away from Glass. That's been there for like how long?
A few weeks now at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see, because the audio on my side was not like okay. So yeah, it looks like Aquaman finally got knocked out, which is not surprising. It's been there forever. But Cold Pursuit is interesting. I thought it wasn't going to make any money with the controversies behind Liam Neeson right now.
Yeah, the Liam Neeson stuff. I was surprised. It was. It didn't make a lot of money, but it did make that typical Liam Neeson action movie money. They're not going to break $100 million opening weekend, but they're still going to make a decent amount of money. One thing I did want to bring up, though, was the first Lego movie in its first weekend made $69 million in its opening weekend, and now this movie in its opening weekend, the sequel, making just 34. That's over a 50% drop in the sequel. What do you think caused that?
I think the advertisement wasn't as good, and I don't think Lego it's not as popular as it was back when it's still very popular, but it wasn't as big as a franchise as it was when the original one came out. I think it just came out at the perfect time for it to be big, and I didn't see a lot of marketing for this as much as I did the first one, so that definitely could be it. Plus, the song that they tied with the first one, everyone loved that song. I think they tried to make a new song. It's not as good. So
this one, the original, when it came out in 2014, made just under $500 million worldwide. Then we had the Lego Batman spinoff coming out in February of 2017, which made $175 million domestically and $311 worldwide, dropping off. And then the Lego Ninjago movie, another spinoff, making only $123 million worldwide. So we've seen this decline over the course of the Lego movies, and I was surprised to see that this is the main movie. Obviously, when we look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we expect movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp to not make as much as Avengers Infinity War. We expect there to be a decline, but this movie being the direct sequel, it being, it's a poor comparison, but it being the Avengers movie to the spin-off movies of Batman and Ninjago being the solo movies, you would expect it to make a lot more. Do you think this is maybe because this second movie comes out 5 years after the first?
That could be true. Maybe kids who were watching the first Lego movie have grown up and they don't really care to see the second Lego movie. And since kids who would be the age to see the second one aren't really, they weren't, watching the first one, it could just be that. I do think it was kind of marketing too. I don't think the marketing campaign was as good for this as it was for the original.
Yeah, I also want to touch on What Men Want, making a solid $19 million in its opening weekend, budget of $20 million. I saw minimal advertising. I don't think the first trailer came out until only a month before its release, I believe. Don't quote me on that. One thing I did want to bring up was The Prodigy not being in the top 10, making $6 million currently in its run, but it did not. It missed the top 5, excuse me, under Glass, and Glass has been in theaters for a while. I thought The Prodigy was a bit of a genius movie, basically taking that Superman origin story and putting the horror spin on it. So I was surprised that didn't make a lot of money.
Oh, is that what that was about? I also heard it was not very good.
Well, if you saw the trailer, it's not from Warner Brothers, but it's basically a kid with abilities, but he uses them for bad.
Oh,
so, but his abilities are very Superman-like, and the trailer used a lot of Superman imagery and stuff. I think he did have like a red towel as like a cape at one point. But yeah, a lot of people were saying like this is a clear Superman origin story if he was evil, and yeah, I thought that would have been enough to get people.
It's also the same actor who played Georgie in It.
Really, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at him. he's becoming a kid horror movie icon already. Yeah, also Aquaman and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse both dropped out of the top 5. It was well overdue. They're both long into their release at this point, and you don't really expect them to carry into the top 5 2 months after their release.
Yeah, I definitely think that if the whole Liam Neeson controversy wasn't a thing, I think Cold Pursuit would probably be over What Then What. Just saying.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, maybe because it's February, that's a rom-com, Valentine's Day, but I do think that Cold Pursuit probably would have been over it if it wasn't for the controversy.
I mean, his movie that came out January of 2018, The Commuter, opened to $13 million, which is around the same, which was kind of the Liam Neeson-led. We had Silence, which opened... Oh, that was a limited release, so we can't really count that. Let me see what else we have. Run All Night from 2015. That opened to $11 million. I mean, it does seem pretty consistent with the Liam Neeson box office numbers around this.
It doesn't look like Liam Neeson's going to be in a lot more anymore, though.
Yeah, that was not very smart what he said. His most successful he's had of the Liam Neeson starring action movies, February 28th when Non-Stop came out.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, but I knew it made a lot.
Yeah, I saw that movie, and I actually really enjoyed it. I kind of like those movies that you only watch once, but they have, like, the mystery aspect to it, like who's trying to take down the plane and all that. That opened to $28 million. Not a whole lot different, but a big jump from his usual $10 million opening weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking at these movie posters. They all look the same. It's just Liam Neeson holding a gun in an action pose.
Yeah, that's basically his gimmick at this point. But
he just makes action movies every year.
But we don't know how long that gimmick will last, as, those comments were not great, and I don't think studios want any part of Liam Neeson right now.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, with that being said, that's going to wrap up our box office recap/breakdown. And speaking of slash, we are going to get into this slasher remake of Child's Play. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that transition. I was a little proud of that. All right, anyways, this comes from Deadline, and it reads as follows. Last year was the 30th anniversary of the original Child's Play, which effectively melded the slasher terror of Halloween with the equally scary Cabbage Patch Dolls fad to deliver historic Hollywood results. This summer, Chucky gets all dolled up again in a remake from Orion Pictures and Catsmith Productions, and today the first trailer hit the internet to beckon a new generation of playmates. The remake stars Aubrey Plaza, Gabriel Bateman, and Brian Tyree Henry. Lars Klevberg, directs, and from a script from Tyler Burton Smith, featuring characters created by Don Mancini, Seth Grahame-Smith, and David Katzenberg are the producers. Now, Mike, I want to turn the reins over to you on this one for the most of it. You're the noted horror fan and the Child's Play fan. What did you think about this trailer with a bit of a modern spin on it?
I do find it very interesting that they, similar to Pet Sematary, as we talked about last week, they're changing up another horror movie with different plot points, so it's not the same as the original, because in the original Child's Play movies, the Chucky doll is possessed by the spirit of Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer, But in this one, it looks like he's going to be advanced tech that was either hacked or programmed wrong to go through a killing spree. So it is different, but it has many of the same character names. There's still going to be the Barclay family, with Andy being the kid who gets the doll. But it's also kind of funny, though, because in the original movie, Andy's much younger than he is in the trailer. So some people are like, why would a 12-year-old want a doll? You know?
Right. Another question I want to pose to you is, with these remakes of the classic movies, even beyond the fact that they're horror, do you like the idea that they put a little bit of a twist on it, or would you prefer for these remakes to kind of be a beat for beat remake of the original?
I like that they make him different, because if they were the original movie, I would just watch the original, because usually, the original is better, even with, modern special effects. But I do like how they're changing it. It's going to be a little different. I do know the original creator of Child's Play, Don Mancini, is not very happy about this remake. He still makes Child's Play movies, and he's going to make a TV show, and he feels kind of like offended that they're making this without they asked him about it, but he didn't want to be any part of it, which I don't know. He can be upset all he wants. MGM is still going to make this movie.
Yeah, another question I had. So, in recent years, we've kind of seen new life breathed into these horror movies. We had The Conjuring be wildly successful, creating a lot of spin-off movies. We saw movies like Don't Breathe getting a lot of box office attraction. And then the remakes of, like, It, for example, being one of the most successful movies. I believe it was the most successful September release of all time. And then we also have Pet Sematary coming out this year. Is this going to be one of those horror movies that is a box office smash?
I do think it's going to make a lot of money just with the name alone. Looking at it, a lot of horror movies that are coming out, they're kind of going back to kind of like having the iconic part be the villain and not just like the scenario. Think about The Conjuring and stuff like that. What's the scary part? It's just like ghosts. Here, it's like they have Chucky, they have Pennywise, they have like the Pet Sematary zombies. So I feel like they are kind of going back to a monster slasher kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Than the other way. I also like to bring up the Child's Play. It has the same producers from It, so they must think this is. They must put their money in something good. They put their money on It, and that was good. So hopefully, Child's Play has the same just really great storytelling that It had.
Yeah. Do you remember the song they used over the trailer?
Yeah, the theme song to something, but it's like, let me tell you about my best friend.
Yeah, yeah. I just really like that, and it reminded me of, what was it? I mean, I'm a nerd for the superhero movies, but it reminded me of like how in Avengers: Age of Ultron, that first trailer used the "No Strings on Me," like a typically happy song when it's distorted to fit the vibe of the trailer. We also saw that with the first Suicide Squad trailer when it was the whole "I started a joke, but now the joke's on me." We see that a lot with these movies. A lot of times they're the action movies that want to have a dark spin, but this one was just downright creepy the way they utilized it.
It is a dark spin.
Yeah.
And I think there are images of the new Chucky doll. I'm gonna look at. They do look quite different. Bigger. I think he has way bigger eyes now.
Yeah, this did the typical first trailer thing where the titular character they don't show. They only show a silhouette of. We saw that in movies like Godzilla, and even the original Thor didn't show him with his hammer until much later in the teaser. And all that.
A couple months ago, they actually did release pictures just of the side of his face, and he looks pretty similar to the original, just all dolled up for the new age.
Yeah, a prediction I want to raise to you, just what I thought of. A lot of times we see this idea in these horror movies that like the bigger and more is better. Do you think because this is a whole like animated doll, in the final act we're going to see like an army of Chuckies, or do you think it's going to be just contained to the one?
Did you say like an army of dolls?
Yeah, like a whole bunch.
I don't think that's going to be the direction. I hope not. I don't really think I would like that at all, or other people would like it. I feel like it's going to be like a smaller set, in the town of just this one incident.
That's true. I mean, because the original, he was possessed, right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
Yeah, he was.
But
he was he was a smartass, basically. I mean, he wasn't But as the movies went on, he became less and less scary because you were rooting for him more than rooting for the people trying to stop him. I mean, he became funny.
Yeah, I just think